But we must begin to understand that in a concept of forming inside our community a united front, a black united front, which engulfs every sector, every facet, and every person inside our community working for the benefit of black people.
A lot of people were proud, and I did this for, this is the smallest setting of people that I've talked to since the event, and this is more intimate, and I'm actually more emotional now, more emotionally connected than I was before, because I felt like I was just telling a story, but now I really feel the energy, and I see you all's expression, so just bear with me. But, ooh, I lost my train of thought. Oh. A lot of students were proud, and I did this for the diaspora. We all did. Well, I hope we did. Not for Howard University, not to be recognized as a Howard 13 or to gain any kind of stardom. And there was a trend on Facebook like, the Howard 13, we're making free reign of t-shirts, and I'm like, that's cute, but I just want you all to know that this wasn't for camera time or for attention. It was to get, not attention for me, but attention for every black man that I love and all people that have been mistreated and disserviced by the injustice system. Some of my peers have walked up to me like, you got arrested? For what? Trying to be an activist? And it really bothered me. Like, it hurt my feelings because I understand that not everybody is going to be on the forefront of the revolution. There might be 12 bodies, but you need some kind of leader. But you also need the support of your people. So after it happened, I didn't feel like I was supported by my peers the way I wanted to. Those who have common interests, like my roommates, of course, I felt supported by. But a lot of my friends were like shaking my head, or people were tweeting like, Howard 13, really? What did y'all get arrested for? It was stupid. But I don't believe that it's too late to demonstrate. And even though he was executed, they don't have the final say. They don't really have the power. And it was a blessing to know that Troy Davis heard about us before he was executed. And that was the motion we were trying to pass. So a lot of students have written on my Facebook wall, I'm so proud of you. Like, I attend an Afrocentric church in Detroit, and my pastor is the president of the NAACP, and we have one of the largest branches. So his sermon was dedicated to being a true leader and how it starts with the youth, and you do have young people on the forefront, and he showed our picture. And so I have had a lot of support, but I would appreciate more support from my colleagues and my peers, not just the elders, because if what Gil Scott said, the revolution starts with the youth. But if all the youth are not on the same page or there's no solidarity, then it's very discouraging. And my teachers make jokes like, yeah, go stay with your jail buddy, or yeah, you were out doing the right thing or whatever. But sometimes I feel like it is a joke. Like, people don't understand the severity of what we did, even though it seems so minuscule to us because we really went peacefully. We just sat down. But it speaks volumes because other people weren't doing it. And I mean, there were people across the U.S. doing things, but my peers weren't doing it. So I was doing this in representation for them.
Please, let me...
Are you facing federal charges or
It's federal because we were arrested by park police.
Park police.
But on our citation, it just says failure to uphold the law. And our fear is that if we go to court, that's so ambiguous. They can say we were doing anything, and they can charge us for that. The court hearing, we can be in prison for 90 days, and that we don't want to happen because one of the things we're trying to avoid is temperamental passionateness to the movement. Like, we still have work to do. We're working with Reggie Clemens, and we don't want to be in jail or have a court case when we're trying to make moves for him. So we don't know what's the best decision. Yes, I just wanted to, you brought up a point, the strength in numbers, and one of the things that actually bothered me with the protest was that the police aimed to divide and conquer the student body, and that's what they did. And I wanted it to be Pan-African. I knew that everybody wouldn't be arrested, but I wanted us, whatever we did, we should have operated as a unit.
Yes.
And we were so on the fence, and we were talking to each other in condescending tones, and I think that's a very important conversation that needs to be had in the black community, because a lot of people at Howard have this conscious elitism, but you can't be conscious if you're not fully awake. And you have to meet the people where they're at. So for us to talk down to people like, people were actually running around to students saying, "You're not about this life. Oh, you're not protesting for real because you're doing what." And they were discouraging people. People like, "I'm not gonna go over there with them. They too rowdy." And that just made the numbers dwindle because it was way more than 12 of us over there. And the other thing is, I forgot the Bible who said most of the revolutions and movements are led by the youth and women throughout the world. But there were 11 women, 1 male student, and 1 male professor. Where were the young black kings to back us up? Even if they didn't believe in what we were doing, it was 11 queens up there, and we had 1 brother to protect us from who knows what would have happened there. So I was really looking for male support because we were fighting for our brother.
Absolutely.
But it was the females who was holding us
It's going
down.
to change the system.
But yeah, like they said, to me, Troy Davis's execution was a travesty. It was horrible. It was murder, in my opinion. But Troy Davis was not, I mean, he was not the only person in that situation, as we've come to find out, you know, or as we've known. And definitely, I feel like it's our obligation to prove how serious we are. And like she was saying about the people like with the jobs and students in particular, but people in general have like their own little insular existence, and they don't really go too far outside of that. If it's not pertaining to them at that moment, then it's so easy to kind of like brush past or not acknowledge or just, you know, do what you have to do. Like people who are now occupying Wall Street, you know, people at Wall Street are at work. They're not really concerned because their interests aren't being affected. So I think that it's an obligation to us who have stepped outside of our own interests and recognize that things need to be done and things do exist on a larger scale to push the issue that was associated or that is associated with Troy Davis, and to keep that going until we can't do it anymore. I mean, to keep it going, to do like I felt that we did as far as getting arrested that day. We did what we could, and we still have an obligation to do what we can, and I feel like we'll all continue to do that.
Absolutely.
One last point, I think that we need to inform the community so that we won't be apathetic to things like this because they don't individually affect us, but they affect us as a diaspora. And I have an uncle who was serving life in prison, who had a bench trial, and it's just a bunch of foolishness. But a lot of people didn't have any relatives or people directly affected by the injustice system, and so they didn't understand what they were fighting for. So we need to remind people that we are one in the struggle, and if you're not doing it for somebody already here, then do it for the children yet to be born.
The fight isn't over, like you all said. Now we like taking this vein that we have and we're running with it. We're starting to help Reginald Clemens. He's from St. Louis, Missouri. That's where I'm from. I just talked to this lady named Christina May. She's the Take Action for Reggie. So I'm working with her. She told me earlier today before I came, that she's going to have me talk to his lawyer and his mom by Friday. So we're really trying to get that pushing. I want Howard to hop on, because the problem that happened with Troy Davis, I knew about Troy Davis freshman year. Some people had just found out about him after the clemency was denied. So we have till March 5th till Reginald Clemens' hearing. And that's just to see if the case should just be overthrown or should they continue with the execution. So I feel like if 13 people were able to make national news, imagine if we can get the power of Howard to help this brother out. And not just him, but all prisoners, especially the political prisoners that we have.
Ditto. Look out for petitions and information. We'll be posting it on Facebook, Twitter, and you'll definitely see information about Ubiquity Incorporated. But on a grander note, it's important that we bridge the gap between the DC community and Howard University, because we've created a disparity as well as a dichotomy of consciousness and political movements. And we could be so much more productive if we merge and if we close that gap.
Yes.